toolbar should pop down, and then you should be able to click on either chat or Q&A. I will try to answer all questions when I see them, but we might have to save some for the end. A copy of the session is available online to download either in PDF version or video version. So this is the budgeting webinar. This would be the first time that we would be doing it, so we are recording it, and we will post it on the jonassupport.com website, as well as the slides. So what to expect: webinars are just to enhance your knowledge of JONAS. They're not to be taken in place of formal training. This one is just in regards to the budgeting section of General Ledger, so we do expect that you have a base knowledge of General Ledger before taking this webinar. And we do use this slide for every webinar. This one I find runs a little bit shorter because there aren't too many components that we need to cover. But that just means that we will be able to go through more questions. So just as a general overview, what we'll be talking about today, we'll be talking about creating your budget code, copying and replacing budget codes. So budget codes in JONAS are 1 fiscal year worth of data. So you can have 1 fiscal year in 1 budget code. Whether that be January through December, or if your fiscal year is different, it's 12 months of budgeted data. So you need a code for every year, and you can have multiple codes per year. So we'll go over how to create those, how to copy them, how to replace them. We'll also talk about updating the information in that budget with the actual financial data that comes through. So after the fact, if you want to update your budget with your real financials, you definitely can. Once you've created that budget code, we'll talk about uploading your budget information into JONAS, the different formats that you might need, as well as entering the budget figures manually. So just depending on how you want to get your budget information in the system, we'll talk about your 2 different options. What we'll also talk about is, once you have your budgeting information in the system, how to print that information and how to report on it, so how to include budgets in both your financial statements and your custom reports. Lastly, because the budget codes exist with 1 fiscal year worth of data, we'll talk about what to do at year-end to make sure that all of your reports stay current. So let's get started. To start with budgeting in JONAS, the first thing that you need to do is create your budget code. So like I said, the budget code contains 1 fiscal year's worth of budget. You can have an unlimited number of budget codes in JONAS, but you need at least 1 per year so that your reports are correct. So all it is if you go into General Ledger, Budgeting, and then Create/Erase a budget, you just have to set up a budget code and a description, and these are free form. Typically, the budget code contains the year, and then the description gives you more information. So for example, for 2018, I could have my 2018 budget, and then I could also have 2018 actuals stored as a budget code as well. So that's 2 different codes, same fiscal year, but they only contain 1 set of information, or 12 months worth of information. So once you've created your budget code, you can actually go in and start putting in budget information. But an alternative to creating a budget code from scratch, so this would start all your numbers at 0, you can actually copy a budget code. So if you go to General Ledger, Budgeting, Copy/Replace a budget, this can create an exact copy of, say, your 2017 budget up to the 2018 budget code. This can be used to back up your budget, so you could say 2017 budget and then copy it to a code that's like 2017 backup. Or you can create a copy that you're going to update with the actuals. So you also have the option to replace the figures in 1 budget code with another. So I flip to the next slide here. So the reason that you might want to do this is either to create a backup, or if, say, your 2017 budget is in JONAS and your 2018 budget is the 2017 budget but 2% higher, what you can do is create a copy from 2017 to 2018, keep the original budget, and increase the budget values by 2%. So then you don't even have to go in and do any manual entry of those figures, because JONAS will do those calculations for you. So I'm going to pause right here and just jump into JONAS so you can see where we're at. So it's under General Ledger, Budgeting, and then the first spot was Create/Erase a budget. So to create a budget code, first you're just choosing your company, and then you just have to freeform type the new budget code. So let's say it's 2018. Once you've got your budget code in there, you just have to key in the description. So this is just for your information so you know what each budget code contains. This creates a brand new blank budget, all zeros. If you don't want a brand new blank budget, what you can do is go to copy/replace a budget, choose your company, and then choose whether you're copying or replacing. So in this case, we'll copy. You can copy, say, from budget code 2018 to budget code 2019. I'm going to call that new one 2019 forecasted. And then what I'll do is increase my original budget values by 2%. So now not only do I have my 2018 budget in the system, I now have a code that's saved under 2019 to use for forecasting. That just increases 2018 by 2%. So these two options do the same thing. If you're copying a budget, you're creating a new budget code here. If you want to start from scratch and start with all zeros, you create the new budget code here. So this starts from scratch. This gives you information to build on. The next option you have is the option to update your budget with the actual financial data. So this can be used to update part or all of a budget code, so 1 month or 12 months of a budget code with the actual financial data for that year. So you would keep your original budget probably, but what you would probably want to do is create a copy of your budget code to say this year's actuals. That way you have a code in there that has, say, for example, if I was to do it now, I would have January to October actuals and then November, December budgeted. Then I get an idea of the full year's forecasted amounts. So in order to do this, I do need a budget code first. So I would go to create a budget code and create one that's called, say, 2017A for actuals. You choose what periods you want to copy, so what range of months you want to update. And then you also have the option to skip the zeros. So if there was a 0 for the month, it keeps the budgeted figure there. Then you just have to hit OK, and what it does is it updates the budget with the actual financial data. Definitely create a copy of your budget first if you're going to do this, otherwise you will lose your budgeted information. So before we get into entering your budget figures, I'll just jump back in. So update budget with actuals is this option here. First, you'll choose your company, and then the budget code that we're updating. And then choose the period. So say you only wanted to do January through maybe September. And then you just say OK. What it would do is take the real financial data from these periods and update it into this budget code as the budgeted data now. So once you've decided on your new budget code, you've created the code, whether it be from a copy or from a brand new from scratch, we need to go in and start entering in the budget figures. So the first option to do that is the manual entry. So it's just under General Ledger, Budgeting, and then Entry of Budget Figures. This is manual. You need to do this by GL account, by department, and you can enter it monthly, or if it's going to be a yearly total spread out amongst those 12 months, you can actually enter in the total year amount and use your F9 key to evenly distribute it. One thing to note when you're entering your budget figures is enter it how the amounts would hit your general ledger account. So for example, if it's a sales budget, you would enter it in as a negative number because the actual financial data hits the GL as a credit. So I'll hop into Jonas here just to show you this in practice. It's under General Ledger, Budgeting, and then Entry of Budget Figures. First, you choose your company. And then here, it actually allows you to show comparative actual data. So let's use 2017 comparative data. Then you choose your budget code. So if we're entering my 2018 budget, and then you choose your general ledger account. So let's say for membership dues. For a monthly total, all you have to do is go in and start entering in your monthly information. And remember, since it's sales, you do want to go ahead and use that negative because it goes in as a credit. For a yearly total, what you can do is enter in the total year amount. So let's say it's 12 million. And then hit the F9 key. So the F9 key on your keyboard would evenly distribute that throughout the 12 months. If you don't remember that, it's also down here on the left. So or enter yearly budget plus the F9 key. So if I hit F9, it distributes that 12 million evenly. After that, you just have to hit next and move on to the next GL account and the next department. So again, you can do yearly amounts, or you can do monthly amounts. If you're doing yearly, you'll put in the total year and then hit F9. And then next, and choose your department. And you can keep going just like that. If you don't have very many GLs, this is a great option for you because you can go ahead and just manually enter in your budget, one GL at a time. If you're watching me do this and going, I have 100 general ledger accounts, there's no way I'm going to sit there and do them all. Don't worry, you can upload your budget. So you have two options to upload your budget. Both of them do come from an Excel spreadsheet. The Excel spreadsheet just gets saved as a .csv or comma separated file right before you upload. So the two options you have are either to do one department at a time, so that means you have one department on one spreadsheet, or you can do all departments at a time, which means that you need the department noted on the spreadsheet. So we'll talk about the first option, which is upload budget from spreadsheet. This is one department on one spreadsheet, so you can only do one department at a time. It's a super simple format for Excel. The first column is the general ledger account. The second column is either going to be your yearly total or it's going to be your fiscal month one. So depending on how you budget, if you budget yearly, you don't budget monthly, it's a two-column spreadsheet that you're uploading, GL account, yearly total. If you budget monthly, then it's going to be a 13-column spreadsheet because it's GL account, month 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, etc. One thing to keep in mind is fiscal month 1 does not always mean January, so you have to make note of what your actual fiscal month is at your club, and it goes by the fiscal month that's set up in Jonas. So if your fiscal month 1 is set up as, let's say, October, this is going to be October, then November, December, January. If your fiscal year is the calendar year, then it's January to December. Another thing to note again is you want to enter the budget how the financials go into your GLs. So sales are a credit, sales are a negative amount. So once you've got this spreadsheet created, what you'll do is go to General Ledger, Design, and then General Ledger Budgeting, and then Upload Budget from Spreadsheet. Choose your company, choose your budget code, and then you just have to pick your file. So wherever that file is that you've saved, it does have to be a .csv. So once you have your Excel spreadsheet, you'll go to Save As and choose comma separated as the file type .csv. After that, you're choosing the department. So if you only have one department like I do in my club, you don't have to worry about the department. It's only got one. But if you have multiple departments, you are choosing each one, and you have to come in here until each one is uploaded. If you forget how the spreadsheet should be laid out, it's just right here under specs. So it just tells you column 1 is the GL account number, column 2 can be the yearly total, or column 2 can be fiscal month 1, just depending on how you want to budget. You can also print these specs by clicking print. So the second option you have for uploading is to have one big spreadsheet that has all your departments on it. This is a different format. So it's still a .csv file. You're still going to save it as a comma separated, but it allows you to include all the general ledger accounts and their departments on one spreadsheet. So this is the layout that you need for this spreadsheet. The first column is a row counter. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It just follows the rows. Second column is the department, so your department code. The third column is your GL account. And then it goes to fiscal month 1, 2, 3, all the way to 12. If you're using a 13-period accounting system, you get fiscal month 13, of course. And then lastly, you have, if you are using sub-accounts, the column for sub-accounts. Again, just remember to enter the budget how the financials would hit your GL, so credits for sales. And it needs to be in this format in order to work. So this one is under General Ledger, Budgeting, and then Upload Departmental Budget from Spreadsheet. So both of these things do the same thing. It's just different spreadsheet formats depending on how you prefer to enter your budget. So again, you're choosing your company, choosing your budget code, and then finding your file, which is a .csv file, comma separated. If you've forgotten what format the file needs to be in, you can always just click on specs, and this will remind you here. So column 1 is the row counter, 2 is the department, 3 is the GL account, and then you have your month 1 through optional 13, budgeted information, and then your sub-accounts if you do use sub-accounts. So 2 options, either all your departments on one spreadsheet or one spreadsheet per department. Depending on how your spreadsheets are laid out, that's going to be the option that you choose. Every time you upload, it overrides what was in there before. So you can't upload just one general ledger account. You need to be, if you are making changes, you're uploading the whole thing again. If you upload and you need to make changes to just one general ledger account, the best bet would be to upload and then go to entry of budget figures to change that just one general ledger account. So this here, you can use a combination. So if I've already uploaded but I need to make a quick change to, say, my food sales budgeted amount because we're not open for the month of February, I would just come in here and change that 1 month for one food sales. Better to do this than do a whole upload once again. So once you have your budgeted information in, you'll want to go ahead and print the budget listing so that you can take a look at it and see how it looks, make sure it's correct, check it over. So there are a couple of different formats that you can print your budget listings. You can print it by financial statement design, you can print it for the income and or the balance sheet. You can also print it with just basic general ledger account and the values. And then there is a worksheet in there that gives you the budget versus actual, so it gives you a comparison. So this is what that screen looks like. You can find it under General Ledger, Budgeting, and then Print Budget Listings. Choose your company and then your budget code. Then you choose the statement design, so if you're using A, B, or C. The option, so income, balance sheet, or both. And then the format. So you can have the report worksheet, which gives you budget and actual financial data. You can also just have budget listings only. If you're using the report worksheet, there's more information here you have to fill in, which is your projected budget code and your next year budget code. If you're just doing print budget listings, that's all you need. You can hit print. So if you're just doing budget listings, this is how the report appears. General ledger accounts on one side, month by month, and total year on the other side. If you're doing the report worksheet, this is how the report appears. So by general ledger account, it gives you your prior year actual, your current budget, your this year projected, and your next year budget. So current budget is what you would have just uploaded. So if I jump back into Jonas, that screen is just here, general ledger, budgeting, and then print budget listings. Choose your company, choose your budget code, choose your financial statement design, and then the option whether you're doing income, balance sheet, or both. So if you do budget for balance sheet, you might want to do both. And then you have your different formats. So you have budget printout, and then if you are using sub-accounts, you have the option to do this with sub-accounts. You have a blank worksheet. So the blank worksheet comes out in the upload format, so you can go ahead and just fill it in and then re-upload it. And then you have the report worksheet, which gives you the budget versus the actuals. Then you can choose your statement type. So if you are using the departments in Jonas, you can have individual departments. Or if you do a company statement, it puts all departments together. And if you are a club that does a lot of business, you can print in dollars, hundreds, or thousands. If I had chosen report worksheet, it would be asking me for the projected budget code and the next year budget code. That's what prints for these two columns. So budget printout, from here you can either export it to Excel or you can hit print. The export is formatted just like the upload budget from spreadsheet format, so you can export it and then re-upload it if you need to make adjustments. So once you've confirmed that your budget information is correct, you can actually start to use your budget. So the first spot that you're going to see your budget appear is in the General Ledger Account Inquiry. So under General Ledger Inquiries and then GL Account Inquiry, for certain members of staff, so this is a user permission, there should be a View button, Budget button at the bottom. It would pop up with the actual account history, the budget, and then it gives you the difference, actual to budget. So it's just a really quick way to know how on track you are throughout the year. So if I jump back into Jonas, this is under General Ledger, Inquiries, and then GL Account Inquiry. Choose your company and then the GL account that you are doing the inquiry on. So let's say it's membership dues. Down at the bottom here, you can click View Budget, and then whichever budget code you're looking to view. So what it gives me is the account history here, so what's actually hit this GL account, my budgeted amounts for this GL account, and the difference between the two. And I can print this inquiry as well. You can also include your budget code in 2 different reports. You can include it in your financial statements. You can also include it in any custom reports you build in the Master Generator program. And you can also have multiple budget codes on one report. So on your financial statement, you could have a column for this year and a column for last year because you're choosing the individual code that populates that column. Same with the Master Generator program. So in your financial statements, you have a whole column here for budgeted information. To get this information into the financials, you click and drag, and then choose the budget code in the calc field. In the Master Generator program, again, you have a whole column here for budgeted information. Choose the budget that you wish, and then right here there's a spot to choose the budget code. So because budgets only contain 12 months of information and they go by fiscal year, you will have to create a new budget code for each year, whether you're creating from scratch or you're using that copy feature. Once you've created the new code, you want to make sure that all your budgets are updated in your report, so your financial statements aren't still reporting last year's budget, or same with your custom reports. And then you'll need to upload or input your new budget features. So kind of start this whole process again. So to update the budget code in the reports that you use, say we're going from 2017 to 2018, the first spot you'll do this is under General Ledger, Design, and then Change Budget Codes in Financial Statements. So this allows you to change all occurrences of one budget code to a new budget code. You can filter this by certain reports, or you can do it for all your financial statements at a time. So I could change my 2017 budget to my 2018 budget for all my reports. That means I know my reports are current and the ones that I'm printing out have the correct budget information. If you're using the Master Generator program for any GL reporting, you go to Administration, Master Generator, Master Gen Design, and then Budget Code. There's a button over to the right-hand side for each report. So you do need to go into each report to make this change. This will change all the occurrences of one budget code to another. So again, if there's a 2017 budget in the report, it will be changed to 2018 using this program. Then I know that my reports are current. And that is all the information I have for you today. I will go ahead and stop the recorder and then unmute the phone so that we can open it up for questions.